Luther's Small Catechism with Explanation, the Black and Maroon edition, copyright 2017, from Concordia Publishing House.
The sixth commandment: you shall not commit adultery. What does this mean? We should fear and love God so that we lead a sexually pure and decent life in what we say and do, and husband and wife love and honor each other.
Question 71a from the Sixth Commandment. What does the Bible affirm about people who are not married? Our identity, worth, or completeness as human beings is not determined by our marital status, but by our Creator and Redeemer. A. God made us stewards of His creation, whether single or married. 203, Genesis 1:27-28. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God He created him. Male and female He created them. And God blessed them. God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. What does this mean? Oftentimes I've received a question, and the question is from people who have not been married or did not get married when they were young, and so they're older, and they think of this idea of, I had this perfect mate, or God has this perfect mate for me, and I failed in getting this, or I failed in seeing it, or I failed in some way of not getting married. And so they carry around this guilt, and there is kind of an echo, and I understand it, of God made us to be a male and female and husband and wife. He made us to have this and to fill the earth and subdue it. That was His command before the fall. But sin entered in and messed this whole up. And it didn't not only messed up theological things and also our genetics and creation and physical things, but it also messed up how we do the things that God wants us to do. We can't do it right. Sin enters in. And so our emotions, our mentality, our spirituality, all these things are all messed up because of sin. And so is getting married and having kids. Although many people do have this, this is a thing that is fraught with problems, because we know this. Paul writes about this as well, about that if it was up to him, he would say, hey, Christians, don't get married because it's so hard to do. And then also to say, hey, that when you do it, this is a lifelong thing. This is something that you're dedicated to, because husbands are serving their wives and wives are serving their husbands. It's important to note that you didn't do anything wrong if you haven't gotten married, or if you don't have somebody in your life to share it with before you get married. God does bless marriage and bless relationships, and it's not bad to pray and to say, dear Lord, I would like to find somebody. I'm lonely. Help me to fill my time with this, to things that you want me to do. Help me to find the proper mate. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes because of sin, sometimes because of the situation, sometimes because God doesn't want you to have the women or men around you because they're not good and godly, and so He's protecting you. And so relying upon God's will and relying upon Him for your relationships, whether they're relationships that are your dating relationships or your marriage relationship, or just your relationships with friends and with family. Those are good and godly as well. And so to encourage one another with this, it's not bad to say, hey, I've got somebody that maybe you'd like to date, and maybe try to help somebody to have a good relationship. It's also not bad to encourage the singles in our congregations and in our lives to say, you're doing a good and godly thing too. And in fact, as St. Paul writes, you actually have more time to devote to the Lord. You actually have more energy. You actually are in a different blessed situation to serve other people. And so don't bemoan that. Ask God, help me to see my place where you have put me. If you want me to have a relationship, if you get married, great. Help me to see this and move this on. If you don't, and that is not your will at this time or in the future, help me to see your will and to live a chaste single life in your kingdom.
The Lord bless your day as well as your week.